A warm welcome to all our viewers and listeners to Explorations, an inter-school speech competition organized by Debate and Quiz Club, North Bengal St. Xavier's College. Due to outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, we couldn't organize this program manually, but I believe we are connected to each other in different ways in this crisis. I, Payal Shah, Assistant Professor of Computer Science and Application and Joint Coordinator of Debate and Quiz Club, welcome you all to this show. First, I would like to thank our Honorable Principal, Father Dr. Lalit P. Tirki, and entire Management Committee of NBSXC and our group members for their support in making the program plausible one. I also extend my heartfelt congratulations to all the participants from different schools. Today, we will be having a good many numbers of brilliant participants ranging from class 9 to 12 who will compete in the speech competition and share their views about the given title, Is Online Education Best Mode of Education? Dear listener and viewers, let me introduce our panel of judges. We are having Dr. Taman Mujumdar, Department of Zoology, and Dr. Pavan Veer Kaur from the Department of English, who will judge today's contest and select best of the best speakers. Participants will follow rules and regulations of the program already given to them. Let's begin our program.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Manjima Paul from class 10 of GD Goenka Public School Siliguri, and today I will be speaking on the topic, Is online education the best mode of education? As technology has advanced, so has the way we learn new skills. In this day and age, when going to school is a big threat to one's health, online classes have taken the center stage in a student's life. But is it really the best mode of education? There is no denying that online classes have proved to be extremely beneficial for students who live far from campus. It reduces commuting costs and provides flexibility for students to juggle their careers and academics. It is also a great option for students who find studying in large classrooms intimidating. But the moment it goes from being an option to a necessity, problems start emerging. For starters, body language and eye contact, which are extremely important cues for a teacher, are hard to perceive in online class. This lack of constant response makes it difficult for the teacher to know whether students have understood the lesson or not. Many students, especially the younger ones, have a short attention span, and online classes may be quite ineffective for them. Additionally, a lot of science and technology courses provide hands-on lab experiments and other practical projects. This aspect of learning is quite limited in online learning. Specially able students are among the most dependent on in-person learning and are least likely to benefit from online education. Moreover, a large portion of Indian population still does not have proper access to internet connection or does not have the necessary devices through which they attend online classes. Finally, education is not just about subject knowledge but also about developing social skills, which are built over years. Relying solely on online education may hinder these developments, and many may perform poorly later in their professional and personal lives. Having said all this, I believe that despite the advantages that come with online learning, the disadvantages prevent it from being the most efficient way of learning. Therefore, online education is not the best mode of education. Thank you.
Good evening, judges. Today, Kshitij Ghanika will be speaking on the topic Online Education, the Future of Education. Online education has been used by students for the past 1 year now because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has forced the entire world into lockdown. Now, to find out whether online education is our future or not, we need to first list out the advantages and disadvantages of online education. The advantages being that online education is very flexible, meaning that a student can access their education from anywhere, anytime. He doesn't have to follow a particular set of instructions. He doesn't have to go to a particular location to study. He doesn't have to start studying at a particular time. The student can create his own schedule and he can study the study material from the comfort of his home. Now, the disadvantages being that in online education there's a lack of human communication. And since there's a lack of human communication, people feel socially isolated. And in online learning, in online classes perhaps, if the student's camera is off, the teacher does not know what the student is doing. This teacher does not know whether the student is even paying attention to what the teacher is teaching or not. You see, a lot of people in India still don't have a good internet connection. And even if they do, most of the people in India still don't have good internet connection to attend these online classes or do this online education. Also, if a family has 2 kids, then it will be very difficult because that family has to buy 2 different devices just to educate them. Whereas for a 1-child family, it is easy because only 1 device is needed. And all things said, online education still has a lot of flaws in it, and it cannot overcome traditional classes, not right now. It will take a little time, but the flaws in it are not irreplaceable. They can be replaced, and I am sure there will be a time in which it can be replaced. Thank you.
Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Malcolm Force. Good morning to one and all. This is me, Ahana Guha of Holy Child School from class 10. And today, I would like to speak about, is online education the best way of learning? First, what is online education? Online education can be defined as a media-based, remote or asynchronous way of education. It has become a beneficial mode of learning as it can be learned over electronic media or the internet. It also provides low-cost education and it does not require specific places for education. It is a method of education in which the teachers and the students are separated while teaching. It is a kind of e-learning which integrates technology into learning and teaching. It has become popular because it provides opportunities for those who cannot attend the classes the traditional way. Approximately 6.1 million college students are now taking online courses, and this number is increasing by around 30% annually. Online education provides for a myriad of benefits for the people as well as organizations, as it allows for, among others, flexibility. This means that regardless of people's physical location, they can attain the same level of education by taking similar online courses. The amount of time left after a typical day at work is relatively insufficient for working students to attend the classes the traditional way. Therefore, online education provides for flexible class schedules that meet the needs of working students, parents, as well as adults. Another major benefit of online education is the guarantee of student enrichment, as it provides for interactive classes. Besides all the benefits that online education has provided us with, it has some demerits. As online education is based on an internet connection, people living in places having poor network connection find it difficult to study online. The students who are weak in studies require direct teacher-student interaction. Online classes doesn't provide that. Moreover, there are many distractions studying online, and it is really difficult for the younger ones to study online because they lose their concentration. Although online education has proved to be fatal for some, it has done more good than bad. It was only after the COVID-19 pandemic that we all came to recognize about its importance. Maybe it is the future. Therefore, we all need to adapt and train ourselves. The government must also help us with this initiative by improving the infrastructure for students belonging to all sections, poor or rich, so that they all can attend the online classes hassle-free. Thank you.
Good evening. Today I, Ashmita De, would like to speak on the topic Online Learning is the Future. Online learning is a term we are all well acquainted with, given the current state of affairs. However, its significance goes much beyond its literal meaning. Though not a new concept, online learning owes its sudden fame to the COVID-19 pandemic. And during this time, it has worked as a bridge to connect millions of people to the world of education over a chasm of uncertainty. And it has proved itself to be one of the most effective modes of learning. Ease of access is one of the most crucial factors that has rendered online learning far better than its earlier counterparts. With the availability of the internet and growth of technology, it is now possible to educate oneself despite their location. It has thus provided us with a solution on how to keep education alive even in the most disastrous of crises. Incorporating technology to improve the learning experience is still in its initial stages. It has faced many skeptical reviews. It is still uncertain on whether online learning will ever be able to fully replace classroom face-to-face teaching due to lack of proper management and large classroom sizes. Furthermore, people living in the financially weaker sections of the society still lack proper devices and access to the internet in order to use this mode of learning. Though online education has provided us with a revolutionary platform, it still has a long way to go. Shakespeare in Hamlet once said, "What a piece of work is man." Thus, man has the ability to use online learning as a medium to take education to the next level, and it is very clear that online learning is the future. Thank you.
One day, my mother told, "Learn the chapters taught today in your class." I told, "Well, I think I've learned that already." Amused at my answer, my mother asked, "How come you learned the lesson in the class itself?" I replied, "Mom, the classes were so interactive, positive, and so full of energy and enthusiasm that everything just got implanted in my memory on its own. Now, when I revisit those old school memories, I feel the change. I perceive the dampening quality of education through online learning. So, conveying my greetings to all, I, Prapti Sharkar, a student of Holy Child School, am going to elaborate my views on the topic. Is online education really the best mode of education? Let me start with a quote by Albert Einstein. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. And how do you think the training of mind is possible through online learning? No, it is not. It's all digital. Just sitting in front of the camera and learning facts won't enliven our potential. It won't heighten our talent. Classrooms encourage the students to learn better, to develop social skills, to trust each other, and to prepare themselves for every challenge in the future. There might be increased learning opportunities in online classes. There might be a broader learning environment. But what about the all-round development of the child? What about those children who dislike studies? They will spend their entire time just scrolling through the social media sites or enjoying videos on the YouTube. We have to be disciplined, don't we? We have to learn the skills of life. But how will online education provide them to us? Accommodating with all the students in the classroom is what the schools teach us. A school is a miniature society. After all, we have to live a life and live in the society itself. This clearly shows that online education is not what education truly is. Are there any feelings? Any emotions? No. But wait, there is more. The very foundation of learning is the bond of faith and friendship between a student and a teacher. But online education does not provide us with that lovely essence. This is evidence that classroom education, our traditional mode of education, is in its true sense education. However, as the COVID-19 pandemic has jeopardized the entire academic sphere, it has left us with no other choice but to shutter the physical campuses and accept the virtual platform for online interactions. It is undeniable a fact that adopting new ways is challenging and strenuous, but in order to keep up progress, we need to do so. William Shakespeare himself reminds us in his quote, "What a piece of work is man! Even if time presents itself to us in an unanticipated, unfavorable shade, if we are willing enough, we can surely come up with a more reliable way." But still then, classroom education has many strong points that online education can definitely not replace. Because online education simply furnishes the brain of that individual with facts, but classroom education molds the individual itself. The true essence of education is out there in the classrooms. So, online education might be a good alternative, but can never be the best mode of education. Thank you.
Very good evening to my respected principal ma'am, vice principal sir, teachers, non-teaching staff, my honorable judges, respected organizers, my dear friends and my fellow competitors. Today I, Shreyam Das, a student of 9th grade Ashata Basu Vidyalaya Jalpaiguri, is going to deliver a short speech on the very serious but common topics from the present time, and that is online education the best mode of education? Last year during the month of March, our schools were closed amid the rapid rise of COVID patients in India as well as the entire world. At that time, nobody would have believed that we would have to continue our classes through the enemy of our study time, that is mobiles, tablets and laptops. They are the most effective distraction in our house. But here we are giving a speech in front of the only visible audience, that is the camera. Oh, what a shame. Only we are to blame for the situation. We weren't cautious enough. But this topic is for another day. Now the topic in hand is that of online education. After the starting of lockdown for 2 months, we couldn't continue our classes properly. We couldn't continue the studies because we weren't in touch with our school. But after those 2 months, we were introduced to the online classes, and with the starting of a new method of classes, several problems also started. First of which is the availability of electronic appliances and internet connectivity. There are several people in India who cannot afford a phone, tablet or laptop. How will they attend the class then? And even if we assume that everyone in this current world has a phone, they might not get the proper internet connection. They might not get the proper internet connectivity. How will they get to attend the class? Not all places get the proper internet connection. People living in remote areas have very bad internet connection. Even people living in this modern city area sometimes face internet issues. I too face them. Then the environment of our schools and houses is totally different. Only our school can create a proper mindset and environment for us to study. Our house is full of distractions. Everything around us, such as the television, your laptop that you are not using for the class, your phones that you are not using for the class, maybe you're using the laptop at that time, or your parents. They, although they might not disturb you while you are studying, but your siblings or other relatives that are living with you, your neighbors, there are several distractions. So, do you think that we can study with such distractions? It is almost near to impossible. Then, another thing is there. It's called social media. Everyone in this world is active in social media. Even we students are. And only one notification from a social media app can take our attention from our class to that social media app. It totally does. I have faced such problems. Another problem faced by everyone. The other problems that I have told are not faced by all, but now the problem I'm about to say is faced by everyone. And that is the problem of physical restraint. Sitting in front of the computer screen or mobile screen for hours and hours damages your eyes to a great deal. Um, our eyes are one of the most important and delicate organs of our body. If it's damaged, our life will also be very hard. And not only the eyes, sitting in front of the computer for a long time, not sitting in a proper posture, might uh, give birth to several back pains, headaches, that many other pains in the body, which is not at all good for anyone. Then comes the matter of conduction of the online exams. Now, I'm not saying that all students are dishonest, but there are some students who are very dishonest and might use foul play while giving the exam. And this totally demotivates the students who actually study for the exam, who actually work hard. And I also think that this cheating method is not at all good for the dishonest students in the future, because they will not always get this uh, advantage while giving the exams. They will not always get these online classes, these online exams. Then what will they do in the future? So, if one is to take my opinion, I will say that the online classes are not at all very useful or very advantageous, because it has given birth to several new problems which we wouldn't have faced if we were in the school. But I also agree with the fact that there is no other way we can study in this difficult time. But I must agree that our studies hasn't improved a lot in this time. So the main point in all this discussion is that no matter how much we evolve, no matter how much the condition worsens, no matter how much we are forced to study online, the schools can never be replaced by our homes. Our home is not at all suitable for our classes.
A very frenetic morning. This is Mohana Roy from Ashalata Vasu Vidyalaya, Jalpaiguri. Today I will be speaking on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the whole world has all been said to embrace a new way of life. It's a kind of new normal that we all have learned to adjust ourselves by maintaining minimum physical distancing from each other in every aspect. Under this compulsion, life has undergone a rapid change from everything physical to virtual. In other words, life has practically shifted to online mode. Online education is nothing but compulsion of time. Like many other countries across the globe, in India, schools, colleges, and universities all have been closed for a long time as lockdown is imposed. The government has been encouraging online education to active academic continuity. Frankly speaking, I had a strong liking for online education. There are obvious advantages of online classes. The major advantage is anytime, anyhow learning. Online education allows a learner to access unlimited topics. A wide group of people can learn at their own places without inhibition. Online education has been welcomed as a change from strict schedule of attending classes. It is considered to be the best for exploring new methods of teaching and assessment. Virtual classes provides us a pictorial representation through pictures, videos, etc. As a result, the lessons and topics are easily understandable to the students. The lectures given by the teachers can be easily saved. Hence, the students can go over the lectures again and again. For online education, internet has become a big challenge. Normally, online classes are being conducted by sharing of videos by teachers over WhatsApp, YouTube, etc. so that the students can watch them as per their convenience. But sometimes this becomes difficult due to inconvenience in internet connectivity. Moreover, India suffers from a huge socio-economic diversity. Many students cannot afford to buy necessary devices needed for high internet connections. Online education is also hampered due to interrupted power supply. Moreover, many students cannot adapt themselves in the online learning environment due to the lack of face-to-face interaction and physical warmth. In addition, various aspects of learning such as laboratory session, project session, excursion, etc. are limited in online education. Finally, education is not just to attain knowledge about subjects, but also about developing the skills among the students, which is built over years. Online education may hinder the overall development of children. Online learning is a good mode of education, but at its initial stage, it possesses certain threats to students. I personally think that online education has created a lot of possibilities for students. Several policies and steps should be inclusive. Sincere efforts and good vision will pave the way. With this, I am ending myself. Thank you.
We have always wanted a break from the everyday strenuous routine, didn't we? Especially as a student, from marching to schools with heavy loaded school bags and then returning to our home as exhausted fellows. Good morning, everyone. Today I, Brototi Sharkar from class 9B of Nirmala Convent School, I'm going to share my opinions on the topic, is online mode of education the best mode of education? The ongoing pandemic has forced us all in the four walls of our houses. With the educational institutions currently shut down for the pandemic, the institutions have opted for online classes, which is the new normal for our education. This remembers me of the famous quote by the philosopher Aristotle, who once had stated that man is a social animal. Yes, we do have a lot of social media websites around where we can easily interact either by chatting or by calls. But he certainly didn't mean that. According to me, we as humans always prefer community-based life where interacting physically is relevant over any virtual means. On a similar note, the parent of an 8-year-old attending a private school in Gurgaon states, there shouldn't be online classes for such young kids. Their concentration span is small and they easily get diverted in a while. In fact, the student herself has said that she hates online classes. Yes, this is indeed a grief factor. Education is not only about passing with flying colors, but the overall development of an individual, which by no doubt is possible only in the ambience of an institution. Another key challenge of online classes is internet connectivity. While internet penetration has grown in leaps and bounds over the past few years, having a consistent connection with a decent speed is still a Herculean task in rural, suburban, and even in urban areas, which is detrimental to the education process and results in the lack of continuity of the students as well as the teachers. Online mode of education can certainly be a great option for the people who are self-motivated, capable of prioritizing their tasks and setting their deadlines. Especially the college goers or the people pursuing their higher studies who find it beneficial not to travel long distance commutes and find any suitable place of their choice to access the videos or lectures or notes. But it is certainly not the case for the youngsters who form the majority section of the education community, as it becomes very challenging for them to focus on the screen for longer terms, and they get easily distracted by social media or other issues, and because of the endless seeming lockdown, they have literally become an addict to all these, which not only make them lose their concentration span and divert their attention, but also make them prone and susceptible to things beyond their understanding or simply too matured. Moreover, this has also been the root cause of the deteriorating health problems of people of all ages, especially the students, one of the main factors being continuous long usage of screen. However, I would like to conclude by stating that at the end of the day, the students themselves have to analyze both the pros and cons factors of the different modes of education and contribute greatly to making an informed decision about the direction of his or her career path. The bottom line is that the students themselves have to decide how they are going to accomplish their goals, online, offline, or in a hybrid manner, and how much he or she will retain and how beneficial the overall experience and journey will be to his or her future career. Thank you.
A very good morning to my respected teachers. Today, I, Swastika Roy of Class 9 of Nirmala Convent School, am here to present before you a speech on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? And I do not agree to it. Classroom is the most magnificent place of one's life. Childhood, once lost, nothing can compensate it. Children thriving up with others, engrossed in numerous activities, flourishing their life, relishing their glory, have come to a halt currently. Classroom learning has been replaced by online learning because of the pandemic. Although the education of students is not hindered, we can't deny that the technology has provided the online mode as the only way out. Starting from kids, all have started to belong to a virtual world endowed with robotics. The others have got their eyes strained, leading to vision problems, headache, irritation, and many more, due to the reckless usage of mobiles, computers, laptops, and many other gadgets. Also, in addition to this, school is a place for the teenagers to socialize and form peer groups. When it's difficult to pick up on the cues of facial expressions, eye contact, and body languages, our brain must work harder to interpret the information that it's receiving. On its own, this can lead to extra mental fatigue. With online learning, students benefit from a casual and flexible approach. These benefits are often misused by them. As online education can't ensure whether the students are paying attention or not, it really becomes challenging for the teachers to conduct the classes. Collaborative learning increases students' self-awareness about how students learn effectively, transforming them into keen learners, inside and beyond the classroom. Studying in classroom provides an opportunity for students to engage in live discussions where they can better utilize their critical thinking skills to voice their perspectives or involve in an argument Also, acquaintance with teachers help them to learn discipline and decorum in public places. An overall approach of education is to prepare a child from all spheres of life, including virtues, discipline, real-life experiences, and co-curricular activities. Online education can only ensure the completion of syllabus, which does not help in the overall development and nurture of a child. Online education leads to lack of communication skill development. But do we have any way out? With regret, no. We are trammeled and in a way captivated by these idiotic devices. The real taste of education is dead, and some children are getting accustomed to unfair means. There are great chances for children to become psychologically disturbed, depressed, and isolated. After all, education is not just about subject knowledge, but also about developing social skills, moral values, and discipline in public places. I agree that for the time being, online education helps students in improvisation. But what about the social skills, which requires complete students' understanding? Thus, relying solely on online education may hinder the holistic development and nurture of a child, and many may underperform later in their professional and personal lives. Thus, I'd conclude by saying that online education is not the best mode of education, but the only way out for us for the time being. Thank you.
Education is the process of acquiring knowledge in a systematic way. Often, schools and universities are regarded as centers for gaining knowledge. Children happily go to school to learn about different things in their life. However, the global pandemic of COVID-19 has forced the government to declare a nationwide lockdown and the resulting closure of these centers. Owing to the present scenario, the school authorities had found out a new mode of education, that is, the online education, to keep the students connected with their books and studies, which has now become the new normal for these students. Good morning everyone. Today I, Nisha Chaudhary of class 10A from Nimla Convent School, am here to speak on the topic, is online mode the best mode of education for children? School life is considered the golden period of one's life. Can you imagine spending this life sitting at home attending the online classes? Oh no, what an impediment in the fun-filled school life. Though the invention of online mode has proved to be of great help to students in continuing with their studies even in this global pandemic, it cannot be considered as the preferred mode of education. No doubt, online learning has various advantages in itself, such as it allows students to attend classes from any part of the world, provides plenty of choices, an opportunity to advance one's career even while one is working, and many more. However, as we all know, a coin has two sides. Regarding online classes, there are some serious disadvantages that has outnumbered all the advantages. During online classes, there are teachers and students stuck at various places where there are network issues or maybe no proper electric connectivity. At this point, even if they connect to each other, they might not be able to understand or hear one another properly, which results in distraction in studies. We staying at our home face so much of issues, so what about the people stuck at various corners of the world? Oh no. Because of this online classes, various students who once used to smile happily enjoying their school life have now put an end to their studies, as their parents couldn't afford the expensive electronic gadgets and other necessities for them to be a part of online classes. Also, teachers couldn't keep a check physically on each student during online classes so as to guide them properly. Online classes in mobile phone and other electronic gadgets causes a lot of distraction, as students might open gaming apps or other social media apps while their class is running in the background. Also, staring at the screen for continuously 4 to 5 hours not only gives a severe headache but also weakens your eyesight and causes many other health related issues. We all agree to the fact that the enjoyment during physical classes is incomparable to these online classes. Obviously, the physical classes have got more things to teach children than online classes. It encourages and motivates students towards collaborative learning, which increases students' self-awareness and enables them to learn more easily and efficiently, transforming them into keen learners inside and beyond the classroom. How can we forget the most precious gift that the school has gifted us? Yes, I'm talking about those fellow friends who have had a great contribution behind the golden era of our school life. These online classes have kept us apart from all those people and all the fun that we had. Also, a lot of moral values from sharing lunch to sharing pen are learned during offline classes. Remember learning a basketball throw, a debate fight, or getting motivated by your team during a quiz competition? Yes, offline classes have given us a rush of team spirit, which is surely shown in various fields during offline classes. Certainly, no comparison could be made of those PT classes where we kept on sweating and still playing. No comparison between teachers asking us to leave the class and Zoom notifying you have been sent to the waiting room. The rush for the canteen, the joy of distributing the chocolates, the fight for rubbing the board, nothing could actually be compared to these online classes where we sit at home lifelessly. Those little chit-chats, those small talk amidst period about teachers' personal life is the lost opportunity during these online classes. Obviously, offline classes will always be a preferred mode as "Ma'am, please wait" could actually be not compared to those lifeless screenshots. Also, the cheerful shouts wishing the teacher "Good morning, ma'am" has got no replacement. In fact, the vibes that school's playground, auditorium, library and each part of the school gave us are a whole different thing that actually holds a special position in our heart. Lastly, I would like to conclude myself by saying that both the online and offline mode were for our benefit with some advantages and disadvantages. However, offline mode will always be a preferred mode in comparison to online mode, and thus my answer to the question is that no, online mode isn't the best mode of education for children, and us being students will always wait for the opportunity to go back to our school and enjoy our school life once again. Thank you.
Online learning is essentially a form of electronic learning which delivers education through the internet instead of a conventional classroom. Although the learning takes place through online activities such as reading texts or watching instructional videos, students still have to complete tests and assignments in order to assess their knowledge. Good morning. My name is Srija Datta. I study in class 10 and I'm from Nirmala Convent School. Today, I'm here to speak on the topic, is online education the best mode of learning? Online learning is more independent and does not require you to be in a certain place at a specific time. This flexibility makes education more accessible to people that may not necessarily be able to commit a large amount of time to attend classes. With educational institutes closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has been encouraging online education to achieve academic continuity. Most high-end private and public institutions have made the switch smoothly using online platforms such as Zoom, Google Classrooms, Microsoft Teams, etc., while many still find it a Herculean task. There are many challenges faced during the online education. It is time that we Indians as a society understand the realms of online education in India for India. So first, let us discuss some of the benefits of online learning. Online learning is about accessibility and inclusivity. It removes the physical barriers that prevent many people from fulfilling academic or career ambitions by allowing students to work from pretty much anywhere. Here are just a few of the benefits of online learning. Number 1, flexibility. Being able to learn online provides you with the freedom to learn from wherever you are without having to attend a class at an allocated time. It is often more convenient for people because you don't have to sacrifice a large chunk of your day to commute or be stuck in traffic to attend your class. Online learning means that you can learn from the comfort of your own home. Number 2, maximize your learning. You can tailor your schedule to maximize your learning. For example, if you work better in the morning, you can do all of your studying in the morning and then use the rest of the day for something else. This not only means that you will be able to retain information better because you are working when you are most alert, but also that you are making the most out of the hours in your day. Number 3, it's a different way of learning. Some people struggle to thrive in classrooms, and it is important to identify that it is perhaps not the education but this method of learning that is the issue. Not having the pressure of being surrounded by peers can often help people to absorb information better, particularly introverts who often thrive in solitude. However, there are some major drawbacks of online education. Number 1, internet drawbacks. It's a big challenge to use the internet as a source of online education. Google, Firefox, and other web browsers are good sources of information, but using these platforms for online education is not easy. However, with proper internet connectivity and by following certain guidelines, one can overcome the internet drawbacks. There are many strategical methods explained in articles or YouTube videos. Following these, it will be easier to manage studies online. Number 3, excessive screen time. Excessive screen time also becomes an issue to the parents whose children attend these classes. With classworks, homeworks, assignments, everything going digital, children will be engrossed in their smartphones or laptop screens, and it is not good for their mental health. It puts a strain on their eyes and brain. With the slight ease in the pandemic guidelines and increase in online classes, the government had capped the duration to 30 minutes for pre-primary students and 2 sessions of 45 minutes for standard 1 to 8. Now, as the question, is online education the best mode of learning? Well, to answer this, I would like to quote, "Every rose has its thorn. Online education is no different. If one utilizes it strategically and methodically, then it is the best way of learning. So it depends on the individual whether he wants the rose or the thorn." Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Pavanbir Kaur from the Department of English, North Bengal St. Xavier's College, Rajganj. To begin with, I would like to congratulate the quiz and debate cell of our college for organizing this inter-school speech competition on a very relevant topic: is online education the best mode of education? I, as one of the judges, had the joy of going through the videos you sent across. And I must admit, I was very impressed by the way you young boys and girls came up with your point of view. I liked the way you arranged your thoughts. I was impressed by your overall presentation, your pronunciation, your vocabulary, your diction. So for me, you're all winners. Every single soul who sent their video and their point of view is a clear winner for me. And I'm not saying this just for the sake of saying it. I know it sounds very cliched, but I definitely mean it from the bottom of my heart. You're all winners. You all moved out of your comfort zone and you participated. And that is what counts at the end of the day. But now coming down to the task that I was assigned, which is announcing the winners, right? So I will be starting off with the winners, and I'm going to start from the 3rd position. So we have 2 winners here in the 3rd position, and these are for the class 9 and 10 category. That's the category for which I will be announcing the winners. So in the 3rd position we have Manjima Paul from GD Goenka School, Siliguri. Also sharing the 3rd position with Manjima Paul is Prapti Sarkar from Holy Child School, Jalpaiguri. The 2nd position goes to Swastika Roy from Nirmala Convent School, Siliguri. And up there we have the 1st prize holder, and she is again from Nirmala Convent School, Siliguri. The winner is Shrija Datta. So I'd like to congratulate all the winners from the bottom of my heart. You've all done a very, very good job. I do hope to see you all participate in such competitions, in extemporaries, in debates, in elocutions, because you all definitely have it in you. So we hope to see much more of you in the future. So here from the family of North Bengal St. Xavier's College, Rajganj, we send you our best wishes, our love and affection. Stay safe and God bless.
Greetings to the house at large. Today I, Dimple Agarwal of 11 Commerce from Nirmala Convent School, am here to speak on the topic. Is online education the best mode of education? And I firmly stand against the notion. Online education brings along with it the promises of education anywhere and anytime. But is everyone capable enough to acquire it anywhere, anytime? According to the inspection of the Village Electrification Program of India, 25 million rural houses still remain without power. Millions of people are in such a miserable plight that they do not have access to the bare necessities of life. When we look at these statistics, it is not tough to figure out that at the end of the day, online education remains a secluded luxury. When we ponder over the question, is online education the best mode of education, we realize that the statement in itself is incomplete. The definition of best keeps changing over the years. The latest iPhone model today will no longer remain the best of its kind in a few months. With the emergence and spread of COVID-19 in India, online education has been forced down to the most basic level, schools and colleges. While India enjoys a wide geographic and cultural diversity, it also suffers from a huge socio-economic divide. The digital shift alienates the economically disadvantaged students who do not have access to the electricity, internet, devices, and a technological understanding that the digital lessons require. What is education? To quote Mahatma Gandhi, education is the all-round development of man and child in body, mind, and spirit. Education is not only about subject knowledge, but also about developing soft skills and sportsmanship among the students, which is built over the years. A vast part of education comprises peer-to-peer interaction, which has reached its minimum level in online classes. I, being a student myself, believe that online education has pulled away the real essence of education. It does not help to create amicable relationships between teachers and students. The virtual screen acts more like a barrier than a bridge, and there is no free flow of learning and knowledge. The problems faced through online education goes both ways. Students find it very difficult to pay thorough attention to what is being taught in the class. Online education can become very demanding, and it is very easy for one to get distracted. Body language and eye contact, which are important cues for the teacher, are difficult to perceive in online classes. Teachers fail to receive continual feedback in the form of students' reaction, and the effectiveness of teaching goes down. How many students have paid attention in the class? Of those, how many have understood the lesson? Is the teaching pace alright? Are some students getting left behind? These questions are difficult to perceive in an online class. The both sides of the education equation, that is, the teachers and the students, are taking.
Good morning, everyone. I, Sharan Parmata of Class 11 Commerce from Nirmala Convent School, I am here to deliver a speech on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? Choosing between online and offline mode of education could be a very daunting task. With the advent of internet and computers, online education has become very popular. And also due to the COVID-19 pandemic, attending online classes has become the new normal for the students. Government has also been encouraging the students to do online education to achieve academic continuity. Through online education, the students can attend their classes in the comfort of their home. All the institutions have smoothly made the switch using online platforms such as Zoom, Google Classrooms, etc. Though online education has myriad of advantages for the students to gather notes, PDFs, audios, videos, etc. in the comfort of their home to interacting with the world's best teachers. However, as everything has two sides, online education too has various drawbacks. I support face-to-face learning because online education is an exception but certainly not the norms. Only face-to-face learning can turn education into a joyful and lifetime experience. Education is not only about academics, but it is also about sports, games, library, work experiences, etc. During traditional classes, students have their PT classes, singing classes, library classes, which helps in their mental and physical development. But during online education, students not get to do these extra co-curricular activities which not only affects their physical health but also gives rise to various mental health issues. Online education do not allow the students to interact with their teachers. They do not allow to meet their friends. This puts barriers in their communication skills and personality development. Peer interaction is also partial, as most of the interaction is generated only by the active students. E-learning is a privilege for the upper and the middle class students, but it has been proved to be a nuisance for the students belonging to the lower middle class and the students from below the poverty line. Traditional classes are more suitable for young students like us because the teacher can monitor our attendance. The students they get better disciplined as they get more, as they are more interactive with the teachers. Online education has the biggest drawback, which is cheating through various modes. As students give the examination in the comfort of their home, they can cheat very easily using their personal computers. Traditional classes are more relevant for primary and pre-primary level students who have a very short time span of attention to spending hours in a virtual classroom. Scientific field students cannot opt for online education because they require a certain degree of hands-on practical experience. Online education should never be allowed to replace the real learning process, which involves the communication between the students and the teachers. That social space is very precious and it needs to be protected at any cost. Thus, I would like to conclude my speech by saying that online education is certainly not the way we'll be able to achieve our desired education that we have ever longed for. It is fine as long as it is a supplementary tool, but we should never allow the substitute to become the substance itself. Hence, nothing can be better than sending a child for traditional classes. Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges. My name is Diya Agarwal. I am studying in class 12 Commerce in Nirmala Convent School, Siliguri. Today I am going to express my views on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? Technological progress, no doubt, has made our lives easier and more efficient. While it may seem appropriate to adapt our learning style to keep up with the technology available with us, there are reasons to believe that online education is not nearly as beneficial to us as traditional style classroom learning. Online education requires more than a notebook and a pencil case at one's disposal. One needs an electronic device with a webcam along with a good internet connection. This seems a far-fetched dream for 2/3 of the world's school-age children, as they do not have access to internet connection, according to a new joint report from UNICEF and ITU. Online classes usually require little to no face-to-face interaction with classmates and teachers. It lacks the interactive elements of traditional classrooms that help students develop crucial interpersonal skills for the future. When students get to interact with their classmates and teachers, they gain confidence in their ability to speak to and collaborate. Online classes fail to foster qualities such as leadership, teamwork spirit, which are inculcated in students when they actively participate and organize different events and competitions. Social interaction helps students to learn from one another and also to form long-lasting cherishable friendships. Biggest challenge in online classes from teachers' end is to know whether her instructions have reached the student's radar of consciousness. A classroom provides real-time feedback loops between the teacher and the students. A teacher can sense the receptivity of the students from their facial expressions and body language. It is difficult to replicate such feedback loops on online platforms. Teaching young students online is also a very big task as they have a very short attention span and they need in-person guidance from their teachers. Virtual learning is also taking a toll on mental and physical health of various students. Sudden increase in screen times and back-to-back classes has put many children at health risks. Many students have reported of getting frequent headache, eye-related problems, back pain and even hearing problems. Furthermore, some schools don't give holidays to students in online mode, which is detrimental for a child's mental health. Online classes have also increased the number of cybercrimes reported worldwide. Hackers get into online classes and use offensive, vulgar language during lectures in an attempt to condescend teachers. These hackers usually are seen to be young teenagers, which also show how online mode is negatively impacting students' moral values and causing them to be irresponsible internet users. Online classes not only allow students to be lazy and in some cases to save up all the work for the very end of the year, but they also lead many students to cheat on exams and quizzes, deterring them from really learning the material. While class recordings gives ease and help to some students, they also propel weak students to pay less attention in the classes or even miss them. On the other hand, in traditional schooling, students pay more attention and actively participate in class discussions, which increases their memory and personality development. In the end, I would like to say that online classes are only effective if students are willing to learn. As the saying goes on, where there is a will, there is a way. Online education can be used as a supplementary tool to strengthen mainstream education, but they cannot replace classroom teaching. Thank you.
Education knows no bounds. Education has no limits. Today, online education is marvelously proving this statement true. Good morning everyone. Today, I, Ms. Khan Agarwal of class 12 of Nirmala Convent School sincerely agree to the statement that yes, online education is the best mode of education. With the rapid increase in globalization and urbanization, humans have achieved astonishing advances, be it space, technology, science, and so on. So why not bring about a slight change in the approach of education? Isn't change the only constant of life? People might argue that the traditional approach of education has been proving effective since ages. So why should we bring about any change in it? But look at the present scenario. When the global pandemic compelled millions of students to stay indoors, online education emerged as their only beacon of hope. It is rightly said that necessity is the mother of all inventions. So, when situations were not in our favor, schools were brought to students instead of bringing students to school. Now, the four walls cannot bind us anymore. We can sit at one part of the world and gain knowledge from even its antipodes. Doesn't it sound fascinating? Down with fever or heavy rainfall, still you can gain knowledge from the most convenient location, saving time, geographical distance or physical disabilities. For kids, parents can get a better idea of their child's study patterns and classes. Switching to a modern approach, you can get the best possible resources at your fingertips. Not only this, but also the resources employed for offline classes such as proper land for classes, chalks, tables, chairs, etc. can be utilized for other constructive purposes. With internet and mobile phones getting more and more affordable, online education is flourishing among students and even amongst college dropouts or students whose studies were disrupted earlier. Classes can be recorded and rewind so that students can learn at their own pace. The flexibility of this mode of education proves that if you really want to learn, no one can stop you. Online education has been popular in many developed countries for many years. However, now developing and even underdeveloped countries are getting familiar with these new technologies. Students are becoming digitally advanced. You won't deny that almost half of the population were unaware of apps like Zoom or Google Meet. But now almost everyone is well aware of it. Students can even participate in virtual competitions, PowerPoint presentations or virtual group projects with their teachers, friends or classmates. But nothing is flawless. Critics might point at the lack of proper dedication, unfair means of passing examinations, or not getting physical interactions with friends and teachers. But how can you blame online education for it? Physical interactions are prevented because of the current pandemic situation and not because of online education. Instead, online education is assisting students and teachers to share knowledge, learn and discuss. Also, it is completely up to you if you want to pay attention in the class and study with focus or not. Even in offline classes, there were students who did not pay attention in the class. Even in offline exams, there were students who used to employ foul means to pass exams. Why to blame technology for it? Why can't we study with dedication in online classes and then go and interact with friends and involve ourselves in field activities? This will even develop us holistically because we will be getting the best possible resources as well as interact and involve ourselves in field activities. I know that online classes were initiated because of the current situation, but it has the power to completely transform education and change the world. With more and more development every day, I believe that if resources are allotted and dedicated minds are joined, we will soon jump over these small little obstacles in online learning and open several doors for students which would have otherwise remained closed forever. Thank you.
Greetings to the members of the jury. I, Riley Pal Chaudhary of Class 12, proudly representing Nirmala Convent School, am here to present my stance on the topic online education is the best mode of education. Change is the law of life, and those who only look to the past and present are certain to miss the future. Rightly said by John F. Kennedy. Change is an indispensable part of life. Change for the better is always welcome. Therefore, I stand tooth and nail with the topic online education is the best mode of education. With the booming technological advancements, this is a very apt time for us to change the traditional learning system and step up to a digital mode of learning. Online education or e-learning opens new doors to opportunities. It enables a child to learn at their own pace in the comfort of their homes. There have been times when we couldn't attend school because we were sick or someone at home was, and we missed out on our studies. This is where online education proved its effectiveness. There are e-books, audio lectures, videos to enhance our learning. This also reduces a student's dependency on the teacher. I am pretty sure we all went through that phase when we were too shy to ask a question to our teacher, thinking that the question is too silly and would end up embarrassing us in front of the whole class. Well, thanks to e-learning, the students can do their research and gather more and more knowledge on a particular topic. Students find it easier to grasp a complex concept with the help of visual diagrams and presentations rather than the traditional way of notes. The digital mode of learning also increases the sense of responsibility, discipline, and inculcates time management skills in students since they have to study independently, making their own schedules. The offline schooling system also promotes the rote learning method. However, when it comes to online, learning is more based on creativity, uniqueness, and intelligence. Assessment and evaluation, if done intelligently with the help of advanced technology, could also certainly prove to be more effective. The online assignments, homework, projects can enhance creative learning. It allows students to collaborate with their fellow classmates and build a better learning community. This is also a cheaper way to education. Students don't have to spend a lot of money in buying supplementary books which are easily available online. I believe the traditional learning system is very limited and confined to the pages of the books. But when it comes to online, it's truly unlimited. Students also have the comfort to study at any given time, which would also increase effectiveness. How many of us has freaked out when we couldn't catch up on a topic and gradually lost interest in the class, or for that matter lost interest in the entire subject? Well, most of us. However, in the digital world, if students miss out on their classes due to unavoidable reasons, they can still catch up by viewing the recordings or referring to other modes like YouTube, which is impossible in offline classes. One can also pursue certain degrees through online classes, which might not be available offline. Well, there might be a lot of critics questioning that the online education implemented during the pandemic didn't come out as effective as it should be for the students as well as the teachers. But we need to understand that this was a crisis situation. A better planned online way of learning is what we need. I believe that online education can be the future of learning. Online education looks promising and opens up education to a larger section of the society. With this, I rest my case. Thank you.
I extend my warm greetings to everyone. Today I, Rihanna Chatterjee, studying in class 12 Science of Nirmala Convent School, am here to talk on the topic, is online mode the best mode of education? With the declaration of COVID-19 as a pandemic and international lockdowns, education institutes were forced to shift to online mode of education. The online mode of education requires the student to be in possession of internet and a gadget that can connect them to the virtual world. But does everyone has that opportunity? Learning Spiral, an online survey, reveals that over 50% of Indian students do not have access to internet, even in the urban areas. The survey also reveals that only 47% of Indian households have any access to the internet and a computing device at all. Over 60% of the students were not able to attend classes due to various network issues and not being able to afford the device due to poor financial conditions, says Kaustubh Bhattacharjee, a teacher at Nagarkata's St. Mary Boarding Higher Secondary School. Statistics from education.org also reveal approximately 15% of students in North America and Western Europe are without the internet. Approximately 80% of students from the sub-Saharan areas are also without the internet. Assuming that the students are provided with the requisites for online education, we cannot forget that the online mode needs the student to find a quiet place for studying, which is not possible for every student considering where they live, unlike the peaceful and calm atmosphere provided by the school laboratories and libraries. 20% of the students indicated that it was a major problem trying to find a quiet place to take their courses online. Along with this, hardware-software issues are also an added disruption. 23% of the students indicated to having suffered from hardware-software issues. Now, let us believe that we have solved the device issues as well, but can we help the sudden thunderstorms and the internet connection issues that come with it? 60% of the students indicated suffering from internet connection issues. Would this have been a problem in offline mode of education? Compared to the offline mode of education, where the student is under a constant atmosphere of study, in the online education, the student is alone. And thus, distractions like this make it a lot more easy for the student to get distracted, thus hampering his attention span and learning. Unlike the offline mode of education, where a student is constantly surrounded by his peers and instructors, the online mode physically isolates the student with little to no interaction between the student and teacher or a student to student. Absolute zero social skills are learned due to this lack of in-person interaction. The new online format of learning has left students with a lack of motivation, which could lead to withdrawal from social activities and also depression. 42% of the students indicated that staying motivated in online classes was another major problem. Given the current situation of the world, we are aware of how prevalent work from home is. And this allows the parents to have a continuous watch over their child for online classes and help them if needed. But given a world with no COVID and no lockdown, how many parents can have the privilege of working from home? Online classes in a world of no COVID and no lockdown leaves the parents with the worry of having the young ones at home for long hours alone. And if they avail daycare, it costs an extra expense. Students of younger age group also have trouble logging into their classes. For instance, my neighbor's daughter had asked my help to help her log into the class, but having my own classes at the same time, I could not help her. Various concerns have raised among parents, unsurprisingly due to the online mode of education. 63% concerned about too much screen time, 60% concerned about no social activities and friendships, 58% concerned about the emotional well-being of children, 53% concerned about having no extracurriculars, and 52% concerned about their children not getting enough exercise. Continuing further, online classes also play a major role in making the children susceptible to medical conditions like myopia, hypermetropia, and astigmatism. Parents can stop their children from continuous mobile games and videos, but can they help the long exposure to the screen when the education is being held online? Now, unlike the offline education, where the teacher can get a good look at each student, in online education, it is very easy for the teacher to miss out on students, giving them a good chance to get away with using entertainment apps during classes. My worthy opponents may say that online education crosses the bridges of distance and we can take any class, any place of the country at any given time. But the feasibility and affordability of that is still in question considering where we stand now. Keeping these points in mind, I would like to say that online education is definitely not the best mode of education and that I look forward to going back to school, walking down the corridors and relishing the feeling of being at my second home again. Thank you.
A very good morning to everyone. Today I, Sneha Agarwal, a student of class 12, representing Nirmala Convent School, Siliguri, am here to speak on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? I believe no. The unprecedented pandemic led to an extraordinary fast shift from offline to online classes. 1.2 billion students in 186 countries were affected by school closures. But how many of them could actually access online education? According to the UNICEF, 436 million of these students could not continue with their education remotely. Therefore, the very first drawback of online learning will be its accessibility. More importantly, can a lesson given in a video call even compare to a lesson given in flesh? Education imparted in schools is not just about academics. It's about the holistic development of an individual. School is the place where students meet their teachers, their peers, they establish bonds, work in teams, take initiatives, and eventually grow up to be better individuals. Education is the foundation stone of a person's life. Life is not online. So why education? Speaking particularly, online learning fails to offer practical lessons in various subjects. No labs, no libraries. Online learning has no scope for sports, completely barring students from the lessons that are learned in the sports field. What about the distractions that come along with online learning? More often than not, students are seen multitasking. With no in-person instructor, interruptions find their way to the top of the priority list, and even the best of the best students get easily diverted from the work. Are these online classes even safe? The increased screen time is taking a toll on the physical and mental health of students. They complain strain in eyes, strain in ears, backaches, headaches, and even disturbed sleep patterns. Stanford research identifies that Zoom and various other video chat platforms have design flaws that are exhausting the human mind and the human body. Moving forward, we cannot ignore the plight of teachers in imparting online education. Providing quality education in a normal classroom setting is hard enough. But then teaching in front of 35 students with their cameras and microphones off, it becomes even more difficult for teachers to keep their identity as instructors intact. Are the students even listening? Even if they are they actually understanding something? The supporters of online learning might tend to argue that in case of higher education, online learning crosses all boundaries of time and geography. It can provide specialized courses. But in my opinion, these advantages are only limited to a certain segment of students who choose for online university education. These advantages are also limited to a time like this, where offline education is just not possible. The specialized courses are always welcome to be a supplement in the face-to-face learning. But these courses cannot replace the traditional system of education we have. And if we consider the current loopholes and issues of accessibility in online education, we can definitely not call it the best mode of education. In conclusion, I would like to quote the great philosopher Aristotle. He said, "Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all." Believe me, online learning is not making students any eager to learn. I myself, after taking online classes for 1.5 years now, do not see it as the future of education at all. Numerous small-scale surveys have shown that majority of students are missing the social experience they used to have in their schools. Can it be the best mode of education when 1/3 of the student population cannot access it, and even the ones who can would love to opt otherwise? With this question to consider, I rest my case. Thank you.
Warm greetings to all the honorable members of the jury. I, Snigdha Makaria of class 12 science from Nirmala Convent School, am here today to deliver a speech on the topic, "Is online education the best mode of education?" And I will be speaking in favor of the topic. Education in the pandemic has become synonymous with online education. The progress of science and technology has made it possible for students to receive education even in an adverse situation. When the pandemic had arrested everyone in their homes, online education was prominently making its presence felt worldwide. Would this have been possible a century ago? No. Besides these facts, online education has multitudinous merits of its own. It can open up a great deal of opportunities in every field. If used properly, search engines like Google can provide students with an access to a plethora of resources, much more as compared to any library in the world. Websites like YouTube, which have a lot of study aid, as well as detailed explanations on various new and unknown topics, can be beneficial not only for slow learners but also for curious students who are always seeking to learn something new. Learning using the online mode of education can also be favorable to students who are studying in universities abroad. It can cross geographical barriers and bring about a confluence of various cultures by way of international educational fairs and meets. It can save time and transportation costs and really prove beneficial for students who find it difficult to manage time. It can also aid students from the rural areas to get access to quality education. It can assist students who want to be apprenticed under well-known luminaries of various fields and open up opportunities which they might never find under the traditional system of education and normal circumstances. Online education is not limited to pen and pencil. It can provide the students with a platform to display their creativity. It can also help those students who face stage fear and allow them to ease out when speaking. It can broaden the horizon of students by bringing the entire world in front of them by means of a small device. Online education is not time-bound. Teachers can keep the classes according to their preferred timings and clear out the doubts of their students. Furthermore, students are no longer required to burden themselves with heavy bags to school, which was objectionable to parents since ages and has now been solved by online education. It also reduces the communication gap between the students and the teachers and creates a strong bond between them, in addition to enabling them to solve any problem within a matter of seconds. Some people may argue that it is difficult to assess students by way of exams using the online mode of education, but I must say, it actually entirely depends on the student and how sincere someone will be with their studies. Students who actually resort to unfair means for their exams will find ways of doing so, even in the traditional system of education. Moreover, why shall we use the old methodology of assessment in this tech-savvy world, which too was found wanting in the past? It is not necessary to assess students using pen and paper. Given some time, new methods of assessment like Viva, group discussion and presentations can be devised to assess the student's real intelligence quotient in this tough and competitive world. which may in fact prove more effective than the traditional methods. To conclude, it is true that online education has some shortcomings of its own, like technical glitches and health issues, just like everything else in this world. But if combined with traditional teaching, it will work as a magic for both teachers as well as students and really has the potential to go a long way ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, respected member of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Akashlina Ghosh, a student of class 12, Ashalata Vasuvidyalaya, Jalpaiguri, am grateful to North Bengal St. Xavier's College for offering us the opportunity to discuss whether online mode of education is the best mode of education, which I think is very important at this pandemic situation. The term online was introduced in 1950 only for computer and later for radio transmissions. Globally, online mode of education was introduced by several universities for distance educational system. Now, thanks to COVID-19 that compelled the students of the poor countries like India to adapt to the online education system, and perhaps there is no other alternative for the time being. Once there was a question in my mind whether reality could be virtual, and I went in front of the mirror, found my image in it. Another question arose in my mind. Is it not a reality that I exist and it is my very existence that forms the image? Let's come to the point. Online education is a virtual reality. Something intangible but exists. With the introduction of online, we observed the following points in respect of online education. First, it saves time, money and other hazards. We used to spend time in preparation for attending schools and to experience fatigue in the evening. Secondly, now there is no need of a huge school building, hostel, school bus, driver, petrol in the online mode of education. The school buildings may be used for other purposes. Only a few specialist teachers, smartphones, and a small room with computers that may be used in a centralized way, taking all the boards, universities, and other educational institutions under one umbrella. Thirdly, as a huge amount of students are off the road, there is a smooth traffic management, less accidents and less pollution. The word dragging will be obsolete soon. Fourthly, to provide educational facilities in a better way, technology will be improved automatically to cope up with the huge demand. Actually, a number of online tutorials have been utilizing the latest technologies for a healthy competition in imparting education. But the government should be very cautious of the danger of educational mafia that may paralyze the complete education system for the benefit of pseudo-corporates. In the offline system, we are loved by teachers, rebuked and often punished, shared our tiffins with friends, played in the field, our teachers imparted education and blah blah. For doubt clearing, we had to wait till the next day. The same teacher, the same classroom, the same school van, the same discipline and the same repeated limitations. But now the classroom has become virtual. The online system cannot provide us practical labs, playgrounds, and a three-dimensional warmth, affection, and emotions. According to statistics, only 18% of student population of India can afford to buy a smartphone, use internet. And globally, as per a research, about 600 million
Poor students out of 1700 million students after the pandemic, they will never come back to their schools. It's obvious that a wide spectrum of knowledge can be gained through online system that needs to be synchronized with offline system of education. Actually, each system is complementary to the other. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Anubhav Paul. I am a resident of Jalpaiguri and I am currently studying in 12th standard in Ashalata Vasubidhyalaya English medium school. And today I have got the opportunity to say a few words on the topic, is online education the best mode of education? During the last 1 year or so, COVID-19 pandemic has wrought havoc throughout the world and our country is one of the worst hit countries. COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and throws an unprecedented challenge to human health, economy, employment, public health, food systems, and the world of education. Educational institutions in India are largely dependent on offline mode of education, that is face-to-face study inside the classroom. Due to the sudden outbreak of pandemic, it has led and thrown a tough challenge in front of the entire educational system all over the world. To combat this situation and to cater education as well among the students, most of the educational institutions in India have to shift from traditional pedagogical approach to online teaching learning method. With educational institutes closed due to COVID-19 pandemic, the government has been encouraging online education to achieve academic continuity. In recent past, online education has trickled down to the most basic level schools and colleges. Most high-end private and public institutions have made the switch smoothly using online platforms such as Zoom, Google Classrooms, Microsoft Teams, etc., while many still find it a Herculean task. Online education is a need in this pandemic situation. It has brought education to the students without their going anywhere. Online education is more flexible and it has lot of possibilities for the students and teachers alike. The students and the teachers can set their own learning pace, and there's the added flexibility to set up a schedule that fits everyone's agenda. For the students who have long distance commutes, they find it a more easier and flexible option as education is reaching them and not vice versa. Online education is more cost effective too. Because the students sit in their favorite places in their home and can converse freely with the teachers, which may not be possible in a class of 40 to 50 students. Now, they can converse and can review the lecture instantly as per his or her requirement. Group communication is a positive aspect of online education, and for the teachers, the availability of resources is abundant in online education. Besides of these advantages, online education has some disadvantages and some drawbacks too. Online education requires internet. Internet for entertainment purposes is common, but for online education is a big challenge. Teachers may not be well versed in creating digital content and conveying it effectively online. A sudden expectation from them to upgrade and from the students to adapt is unfair. Body language and eye contact, which are the important cues for the teacher, are difficult to perceive in an online class. Finally, the students may face some difficulties in lab-based practical discussions in online education, in online class. Now, education is not just about having subject knowledge, it also about having certain developing social skills and sportsmanship among these children, where only the online education may hinder the holistic development of the children. As India is a big populated state and has huge socioeconomic divide, only a small population of this whole Indian population has access to this feature. But due to this, it may widen the inequalities present in the pre-existent socio-economic fabric of India. Now I present my final words. Online education is a growing phase of educational system in India since the new educational policy NEP, which may be abbreviated as NEP, came in 2020, has brought major changes in the educational system of India, and which includes online education as well. Online education is going to be a part in upcoming future to every person's life, and we need to be prepared for the changes. Now I may conclude that good vision, sincere efforts and time will show India the way ahead, because the government is taking approach through these new technologies to reach every village and every people and provide them with the necessities of food, shelter and education. All our policies and interventions which are related and regarded to online education are strive to be inclusive, and this may show India the way ahead. Thank you.
Hello, I am Madhubani Roy of class 12 from Ashalata Vashuvidyalaya of Jalpaiguri. Today my topic is online education the best mode of education? So here I begin. With the coronavirus pandemic came a barrage of alternate lifestyle options such as working from home, virtual classes, exams, and the importance of staying active and productive during the longest phase of time that humanity has stayed locked indoors. One of the biggest challenges has been the continuation of student education, and coming to the rescue of school administration are the online classes. Online learning are extremely popular simply because they are more convenient than the traditional classes. Online classes gives the student the opportunity to engage themselves with multimedia materials and contents even if the students are unable to take up a particular class. The best thing of online class is that students can log into their classes from wherever they are and begin their lessons. Online classes are extremely cheaper and resource saver as students don't have to travel to their schools or colleges and spend money on their uniforms. The schools also need not to worry about the upkeep of the infrastructures and the other problems a school come up with. Additionally, students should not have to skip their classes for any reasons like power cut or any other engagements, or even they do not have to skip a class even if a lesson has been done in the class. A student can log into their teacher's account and watch their videos of the lectures and take down the notes. It also helps inculcate self-reliance and discipline in students. Searching for online tools and aids helps the student to grasp the concept better under the teacher's guidance. Sticking to the schedule in spite of being at home and motivating themselves to come up to the class every day. It helps students who are shy and find it difficult to interact with the other students properly. They can stay at home and concentrate better on their studies. Online classes can be tailor-made to suit the students to other schedules like physical exercises or any co-curricular activities without binding them to the strictness of the timetable of the school. There may be flip side of online classes too. We often come across various online education platforms like Byju's, Vedantu, Unacademy, etc. We don't have any doubt that they are extremely good, but they often fail to provide the proper atmosphere of a classroom. The student-teachers face-to-face interaction, instant assessment face a real jolt in our education system of online class. It often becomes rigid and monotonous since the students play the role of silent listener while the teachers continues giving their lectures. Children below the age of 12 do not have any advantage of doing online classes. Instead, they are getting harmed as it damages their ears, eyes and brains for using the glowing screen of laptop or phone for a long time, and also using the headphone and earphones for exchanging the audios. It is also impossible to judge a student's performance on the basis of online education. There are children from underprivileged background who are not being able to afford the online classes, yet the possibilities are enormous and the government has to take up ways to make online classes more affordable and inclusive. Thank you.
No matter how many innumerable wonders the internet has to offer us, there is something that just cannot be replaced. A very good morning. I, Gaurav Surya, would like to express my view on the topic. Online education is the best mode of education. I would like to begin by asking you all a very simple question. How many of you agree with me when I say the joy of enjoying the real taste of food can be felt only when one tastes, one sees it physically, touches it, and then savor the delicacy of it? Or is there anyone who enjoy and get satisfied by watching the edible thing online? I must say the same thing is relevant with the online classes. Just like the viewer watching an ad of KFC gets some benefit of it. No doubt the actual joy and the contentment is sitting in one of its outlets, engulfed with the spicy, hot aroma of the chicken and the releasing it. Similarly, the joy of sitting in the physical class is not less than going to the KFC outlet. For all we achieve in our online classes are just a frequent network interruption and a new way to cheat and slug off classes. It goes without saying that interaction among the friends and the peers, the rapport between the teachers and the student, the experiences one get to know in an actual classroom, teaching cannot be achieved at any cost in virtual classes. With the internet, we would never know the pride we feel when the teacher praises us and the hand on the shoulder. With the internet, we would never know how it would feel to see and hear those familiar faces and the voice who we know more than ourselves. With the internet, we would never know the joy and the relief of the ringing of the bell when the class comes to an end. With the internet, we would never know the mischief and the fun we felt while bunking the classes and sneaking in snack or talking in the classes while teacher turned to the blackboard. With the internet, we would never know the nervous tension we would have when the exam were near, or a rush of thrill and the fear when we tried to cheat in some of those. With the internet, we would never know the bittersweet moment when the dear teacher would leave the school, or when we were punished for something that wasn't our fault. And how would we never experience these many little fragments of our lives had we only been a slave of the internet and the online classes? Thank you.
A very warm greetings to everyone listening to my speech today. I'm Kasa Goel of grade 11 Commerce from GD Goenka Public School. It's an honor and pleasure to be representing my school for this competition hosted by St. Xavier College. In this 5 minutes, I'll be sharing my opinions on the topic, is online education the best form of education? Ever since the outbreak of the pandemic, people from all walks of life have been affected tremendously in one way or the other. Every field has faced the brunt of the virus, but perhaps the most hard-hit field is the educational field, the backbone of every progressive country. Regardless of what we thought online classes would be like, here we are, literally living the virtual life of schooling. Online education has been the new normal, which in my opinion is great because it allows us to take classes from homes in a safe environment, giving us more flexibility and comfort. Moreover, studies have shown that learning in an environment comfortable for the students make them understand things better. The benefits of online education is diverse, but the biggest question lies in how to do it on our own. There are many arguments that suggest that online education serves distraction for the students, especially for the ones who have low concentration span or is incapable of doing things without being monitored. However, every individual has to be quick to adapt to any changes that comes along to be on par with the world. Following the survival of the fittest mindset, to thrive during the time where change is the only constant, one needs to adapt to enjoy the fruits of technology. With online learning, one can swap classes without having to go anywhere, which cut down the unnecessary prolonged time that takes during switching the classes in offline classes. In online classes, there's more flexibility and less time. When in offline classes, if a student misses their bus, they cannot attend the entire class, but there's not a problem in online classes with this. Yes, the challenge remains in those schools in various parts of the country where not every child have access to laptop, internet, or phones. But that is something the authorities in charge should work on. However, I'm convinced that with the rapid development and technology, this will not be a problem in the long run. Did you know that the government of Sikkim provided free laptops to every child in government school? How thoughtful is that? Taking unified step like this in a large scale can make education accessible to everyone. And I'm sure with concerned authorities and educational online education will be accessible to everyone in the long run. Lastly, I'd like to end my speech by saying that in fact it is great to have an offline class and people enjoy offline class for varied reasons. But dear listeners, please let us not forget the fundamental right to education and accessibility to each and every student. And in my opinion, online education helps us to do just that. So why not just switch to online education? Thank you for listening to me so patiently, and I hope you have a great day ahead.
Hi, good morning to you all. First of all, I convey my sincere thanks and heartfelt congratulations to the Debate and Quiz Club of North Bengal St. Xavier's College for organizing such a mind-boggling competition, speech competition on a very contemporary topic, that is the online mode of education is the best one? And I personally feel myself very much privileged to be a part of this competition as one of the jury members. And I also thank Dr. Pavanbir Kaur for assisting me in the process of adjudication. Before getting into the results, I must say certain things that as there were quite a handful number of competitors from different schools of Siliguri and Jalpaiguri and the nearby region, so we had to divide the competition into two categories. One category was for class 9 and 10, another one for class 11 and 12. And certain things I would rather point out so that you can improve yourselves in such competitions in near future. That certain videos I found to be edited one. But whenever we talk about a speech competition, then this edited mode of video means if we find it edited, then it goes for little towards the discredit of the participant. So I hope next time when you will be participating in such competitions, you will do it at a one-shot take, not for edited video. That doesn't look good. Next, I found for some participants that body language was little too animated. just stay cool and calm. That is the best thing for, it can be expressive certainly, with your voice, with your modulation in speech, but animated body language doesn't look nice as well in such competitions. I must admit one thing, that some of the speeches were excellent, very good. Some of the points that had been covered by those in those speeches were really, in fact, thought-provoking for all of us. Like some points were there which raised during this during your content. Those were really excellent, and I must appreciate those things. So at a certain point, we found it really difficult to find out the winners. However, I congratulate you all for participating in this competition. I know it would have been much better in an offline mode, but however it is online, still you did well. That was really nice from your end. But as a rule of the game, we have to come up with some winners and declare their names. So I take due apology to you all that we had to choose few names as winners for this class 11 and 12 category particularly. So congratulations to you all before I declare the final result. Now the result is like this. For third position, we have Riley Pal Chaudhary from Nirmala Convent. In second position, we have Diya Agarwal from class 12, Nirmala Convent once again. And we have joint winners in number 1. And the joint winners are Sneha Agarwal and Rihanna Chatterjee, both from Nirmala Convent. So congratulations to you all once again, and also the winners for their excellent presentation and all. I hope we will continue to organize such events, and similar active participations will be there from your end. This was quite encouraging for us to organize such events. Thank you. With all my heartfelt thanks towards the administration of North Bengal St. Xavier's College, and also the different schools who encourage their students for participation in this event. So see you soon, sometime in future. All the best.
Hello, I am Rajoshi Bakchi, Teaching Faculty, Department of English, and Joint Coordinator, Quiz and Debate Club, North Bengal St. Xavier's College. And I am here to deliver the vote of thanks for today's event. First and foremost, we would like to thank our esteemed principal, Father Dr. Lalit Pitirki, for always inspiring and encouraging us to organize events like this, which caters to the academic communities in and around North Bengal. Our sincerest thanks to the vice principals, the dean of students, the teaching and non-teaching staff, and to every other member of the big Xaverian family that we have at North Bengal St. Xavier's College. A special note of thanks to our esteemed in-house jury for this inter-school speech competition, Dr. Pavan Bir Kaur ma'am and Dr. Tamal Majumdar sir. And of course, heartiest congratulations to not only the winners but to all the student participants from the various schools who have showed excellence and enthusiasm in equal measure. We would also like to humbly thank the respected authorities of the various schools, including the concerned teaching and non-teaching staff, the mentors and the guardians of the student participants for their consent, guidance and cooperation. We look forward to your valuable support in all such collaborative events in the future. Last but not the least, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the coordinator of the Quiz and Debate Club, North Bengal St. Xavier's College, Payal ma'am, and every other member who have put in a lot of earnest effort to make today's event a success. With this, we come to the close of today's event. Thank you all, take care of yourself, and have a great day.